Hello everyone. So today I will be giving a demonstration on how to make a bowl on the kick wheel and all the processes that you need to know in order to do so, as well as all the tools that you need today. Okay. So the first tool that we need is the sponge, and the sponge is really good for getting out all the excess water, plus splashing more water onto the clay because it does get dry. So the sponge, and then the blue rib, which is good for shaping. The metal rib, which is also good for shaping. The needle tool is good for when you have air bubbles in the clay. When you're throwing the pot, you can just stop the wheel and get all the air bubbles out with the needle tool. And then that is the one on the left is a wooden trimming tool, which is good for shaping, getting all the gunk off your pot. And then lastly is the wire tool, which will help you get your pot off the wheel when you're done throwing it. And a big old bowl of water. Next is the kick wheel. So this is what you will be using. It looks a little intimidating, but it's not really. So there you go, and you kick that with your foot. That's how you make the wheel spin so that you can throw your pot in a circular motion. Next is wedging. Wedging is a crucial part of this process. It's my least favorite part because it takes a little bit, but this is how you get most of the air bubbles out of your clay. If you don't do this at all, and you throw your pot and it has air bubbles in it, it will most likely blow up in the kiln and ruin everyone else's pots. So you really want to make sure you do a good job at this. It's very important. Yeah. You just do this motion. We'll work on it tomorrow too. And then next you want to ball it up, prepare it to put it on the wheel so that everything works out well. So you plop it on the wheel just like that. It doesn't have to be perfectly in the middle because you will get it there eventually, but you want to try your best to get it in the middle. And I like to stick the sides down to make sure that it really stays on there, because otherwise it'll just be a mess. So that's what it looks like. See, it's crooked. So this is centering. So centering is what you want to do in order to make the pot. You got to make sure everything is in place. You don't want a wobbly mess, you know? Otherwise, how will that work? So you notice how I'm splashing water onto the clay because we don't want to work with a dry surface. And notice my hand movements right here. And I slowly take off both of my hands together. And notice how I'm kicking. I'm not kicking when I have my hands on the clay, because otherwise that could just mess up the whole process. So I'm kicking without my hands on the clay. I'm adding pressure, but not too much pressure in order to raise up. So that is what it looks like when your clay is centered. So now it's time to start making the bowl. Notice how I'm about to place my 2 fingers, one finger on the clay and one on the other finger in order to apply pressure and stabilization. I'm placing it in the center of the clay. And I'm going in ever so slightly. Make sure you don't want to go all the way down to the bottom, because otherwise you'll have a hole in the bottom of your pot and it won't be a pot. Grab some more water, grab the sponge. The sponge can also help with like smoothing the walls of the bowl and making it so that it's wider, and also smoothing the outside too. And I'm just making it wider, and it's really important every time you go in to make the bowl wider, you want to make sure the rim of the pot is okay. You want to check up on it like I'm doing. So I'm making it thicker because it oftentimes likes to get more thin and break off if you don't check up on it. Just like that with my finger, with my pointer finger. So I'm kicking without having my hands on the clay. I'm smoothing the bottom right now with my sponge. Smoothing the walls. So next, I'm going to be just shaping it up using some tools along with it, like the blue rib, shaping it. Oh, I found an air bubble. And you'll be able to do a trial and error tomorrow when we have class, so that you can figure out how you like to use the tools. There's no specific way, just how you like to do it. So next, I'm going to shape up the bowl. And it's not perfect, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Cleaning the outside. And next, I'm going to splash some water onto the wheel, on the pan of the wheel, so that I can easily slide my pot off the wheel once I cut it with the tool cutters, with the wire cutters. Ready? Okay. So you want to go once in one direction, and then you want to go a second time in another direction. And then you want to slide it off. The water really helps with this. Woo, there we go. All right, thank you guys so much for listening today, and I will see you guys next time for class. And this way you guys can get to know the kick wheel for a longer period of time, and I'll be there to ask and answer any of your questions. I look forward to seeing you guys. Thank you.